All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Thanks for showing up here every day and hanging out with me. We're live on YouTube, Rockfin, hello Rockfin people, and we're live on Callin. And you all know about Callin. I can take calls on Callin. But, all right, so we're all here real quick. Thank you. Big thank you to Lou. Longtime watcher of the show and supporter of the show. Lou basically took Buy Me a Coffee literally. So Lou sent me 5 pounds of this organic French roast. Thank you, Lou. And so it's very delicious. I'm drinking it right now. Actually, that's why I was late for the show. I was making up a cup of coffee. And also sent me another little bag of coffee. So thank you, Lou. I'm in coffee for a super long time. I appreciate it, Lou. Thank you. That was very kind. And you know I love coffee. So it's a win-win. Yeah, so that was really nice, and I've been drinking that coffee all morning. Oh, I got a crackle thing? Hold on. Check. We don't like the crackle thing. Hopefully that cleared it up. Anyways, yeah, super cool. I love coffee. I need coffee. I drink coffee, and that was a lot of coffee. And it was a very nice gesture. Okay. Thanks, guys, for the crackle alert. Okay. Let's get into it. Lots happening. As usual. Not enough time to cover all the things that are happening. But we do our best. And I don't know. I'm going to really have to cut the show right on time today. I'm not going to be able to go over my time today. Julian Cribb. These temperatures are approaching the human metabolic limit. Retweeting Nate Bear. Extraordinary heat event forecast next week for Spain. Widespread 43C to 45C with 47C in numerous places currently being forecast. Records will fall. The heat will approach Spain's all-time record of 47.4C set in 2021. Brutal, deadly heat. And also posting this, I didn't actually see this. But a very interesting number. And we talked about European heat waves that happened in the past. Apparently 61,000 Europeans died in last year's heat waves. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. I wonder, I once in a while I reference this, and I'm losing the name of the doctor. Ryan Christian had on Dennis. What's his name? Can't remember his last name. Anyways. I will remember his name in a moment. Harcourt, something like that. They were talking about deaths during the pandemic, or increased rates of death, right? In I think all age mortality. But this scientist, I'll remember his name in a moment. He was saying they were looking at U.S. and Canada, and he was saying that they attributed some of the early deaths to heat in the southern U.S., right? Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. And this was something that Ryan Christian at the time just kind of glossed over and didn't really like. Oh, really? Heat? Because it wasn't convenient to his narrative, but it's interesting to see somebody bring up, science and data into the conversation, and he's saying yes, heat is a part of these. So what are the total of deaths attributed, early deaths or excess deaths attributed to heat, to increased heat, to increased global warming, to et cetera, et cetera. My dog is very, very upset at somebody outside the gate. I don't know what's going on. Dennis Rancourt, thank you, guys. You guys are on it. I appreciate you, Dennis Rancourt. I said Harcourt, right? I think I was close. Anyways, Dennis Rancourt bringing up several factors that could contribute to excess deaths, and one of the factors that he saw in the data, he was like, there are a number of excess deaths due to increased heat. You put that together however you want. Leon Simons pointing out, historically, this is the time of year we should really start to see the effects of El Nino on global sea surface temperatures. But there is no historic precedence for what's happening now. So this is the end, the start of the Super El Nino in 2015 here, right? You see the anomaly. How far it is away from the last anomaly. Pretty high. And this is the end of this Super El Nino here, 2016. But look at this. I mean, we're in an uncharted territory. This is just, I don't know how many words I could find. Stupendous, amazing, dumbfounding. So I don't think it's wise nor correct to attribute all excess deaths to one particular cause, right? Yeah, I mean, it's probably wise to attribute it to a certain cause or some factors that are new things that are introduced, but you have multiple factors, right, in excess deaths. There could be many things going on, so there could be a combination of things. That would be the scientific way to approach it, I think. Let's keep going. It is very warm. My computer is on ice, up on ice blocks today, because it's getting to be really summer here. There's Steve Austin pointing out this is so important to have a chance at adaptation. Cities must depave car infrastructure and soften and shade. I don't know what shaders is, but trees, I guess. Trees are life, not cars. And this is someone pointing out a tree standing tall in the middle of this floods in India. Trees can hold the ground for you even in massive floods. That's why we should keep them. not cut them down, not pave them over. Extraordinary heat wave in Russia. Hundreds of stations are obliterating the records, especially highest T-mins with huge margins. Never seen minimum temperatures of 25 to 29 C tonight between Caspian area and Siberia, even north of 55 latitude. Absolutely unprecedented. Extreme temperatures does not allow comments on their tweets because there's too many goobers like, this is happening. This happens all the time. The weather is always changing. And I guess he gets, what's the point in responding? Maybe he got sick of it and just decided to cut that out. This is from Doomer Girl News, and we've talked about this a few times. Buckle up for bumpier flights, researchers say. We'll probably end up with more convoluted, longer flight routes, longer waiting times, and flights will become more expensive. Fly the unfriendly skies. I just heard someone had their flight canceled to the New York area because of an extreme, insane weather event. Right? This is going to happen more and more. This is going to get in the way of people doing the normal things, like, I'm just going to catch a plane. I'm just going to go do this or that. I'm going to go catch a cruise. I'm going to go, whatever. It's just weather extremes, and the fact that the Earth is not operating as it used to in the parameters that it used to are going to affect people doing the normal things. But yes, lots of flights being affected by increased turbulence. Jessica posting here, Central Valley, California. She says, I'm from this area, and as long as it stays under 115 Fahrenheit, most people are used to it. An exceptional temperature would have to rise above 115 to get anyone to think it was unusual. Anyways, they're talking about dangerous heat this weekend in Central California that will result in major to extreme risk for heat-related illnesses for much of the population, especially those who are heat-sensitive and those without effective cooling and or adequate hydration. See excess deaths due to heat. Yeah, for the most part, people are like, it's been this hot before. So you would need something above that or way above that for people to go, oh, dang. Ooh-wee, my computer is moving very slow. The number of extreme heat events and or rain events just is mind-boggling. I can't even cover them all in one show. And they just keep on coming. Miami has already spent more time above a 105 heat index through July 10 than it ever has in any entire year. So they already broke a record. Oh my God. And if you've ever been in Miami during the summer, let me tell you, Miami is one of the most humid because it's one of the most southern places in the U.S., contiguous U.S. it is humid. It is very uncomfortable there in the summertime. South Florida ocean, and this is probably why it is, partly why it is so hot and humid there. South Florida ocean hits mid 90s. NOAA forecasts 100% chance of bleaching in red. So any corals in that red area, 100% bleached. No form of management or protection can prevent reefs from being impacted by increases in sea surface temps associated with burning of fossil fuels, etc. And we know this. Let's keep going. Hail the size of a golf ball during a storm. This is Victory Jen sent me this. We're seeing a lot of these events. It's hard to see beyond. There's just a lot of splashy spread. Hold on. Just one more thing to cover here. Where did it go? Where did it go? There was a... It's part of the thumbnail. Let me see if I can find this. Did I lose the story that is part of the thumbnail? Well, that would be dumb. Hold on, maybe it's back here. Somewhere in here. We'll get to it. No? Maybe not. Oh, this is a story I did want to cover, though. State of Vermont. State of emergency declared in Vermont. As downpours and flash floods wreak havoc. Flash floods cut off towns. Many roads were inundated with flooding and several bridges collapsed, with early estimates of millions of dollars in damage. Jesus. That is also happening. Where did this story go? About somebody posing, another politician posing as if they cared about climate change. Let's see. That's good. Somebody saying you don't need to go out and block traffic for climate change anymore. The weather's going to do that for you. No need to get out in the streets. There are no streets. The streets are gone. Oh, dang it. Where did this go? Here we go. Hilarious. This is from Justin Hart. Channeling Pete Buttigieg, the radical leftist prime minister of Spain who flew private to this climate summit, gets out of her diplomatic black limo a few blocks away and gets on a bike. Oh my God. Yay. I mean, come on now. But, you know, photo ops are us. Are they ever going to get the message that, no, you should not fly to these climate summits? Why even have these climate summits? Why don't you just have there's a thing called Zoom. Get yourself on a Zoom climate summit, set it up that way. There's no need for people to be traveling. Put your money where your mouth is. Stop being such hypocrites. Stop being such poor examples for people that you want to listen, to your message. And start trying to do the right thing. Maybe if we scream loudly enough no more climate conferences, okay? How about that? No more climate conferences. How about no more flying to no more in-person climate conferences? How about that? No more Davos, no more anything. No more, none of that. You guys, you know how to have this. Was it because you can't get in a back room somewhere and make some kind of dirty deal? Is that why you can't do it on Zoom? There you go. How about just having straight up and all these Zoom conferences should be public, right? Should be available and viewable by the public. There should be no private Zoom conferences, nothing like that going on whatsoever. How about we start demanding that? Oops. Oh boy. Hey boy. But let's end this kind of thing, shall we? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Means more if you say it like that. Meanwhile, while the world is going down in flames, the Democrats are also going down in flames. Are you still a Democrat? Do you still call yourself a Democrat? Anybody out there still call themselves a Democrat? Do you still believe this is the party of hope and change? It's revealing that the party that tells you that you have to vote to save democracy will then shame you if you vote, but don't vote the way that they want. It's quite clear that Democrats don't believe in democracy at all. He's hashtagging Cornel West 2024. Cornel West says, let us not be deceived. And he's going to talk about NATO. NATO is an expanding instrument of U.S. global power that provoked Russia into a criminal invasion and occupation of Ukraine. This proxy war between the American Empire and the Russian Federation could lead to World War III. I'm just reading this, YouTube. We must stop the war and war crimes, including cluster bombs used by all parties, and embark on diplomatic talks that could lead to a just peace. And remember, they tried to actually get a peace agreement. They had a peace agreement, and the NATO power said no, thank you. As the great W.E.B. Du Bois wrote in 1945, said, I seem to see outlined a third world war based on the suppression of Asia and the strangling of Russia. The Democratic Party is a party of war and Wall Street, targeting Russia and China. Let us save our democracy and world by dismantling U.S. militarism at home, as in cop cities, and abroad, as Martin Luther King Jr. painfully reminded us. Classy Keith Olbermann replied, F off. What an ass. The world would be a brighter place if Keith Olbermann just went away. As in, stopped being a public person. Like, go away. Keith Olbermann, just leave. Leave before you embarrass yourself anymore, dude. You're a joke. Jimmy Dore, the party that told you, and he's quoting from George Orwell, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. This is exactly what we're seeing, by the way. For the last 3 to 4, actually we can go back further than that. They're telling you Don't believe what you see or what you hear or what you think. Anybody with contrary information to the information that we want you to believe is a conspiracy theorist, a wacko, a kook, a foreign agent, a fascist, a racist, right? They're doing everything they can to get you to believe that anything contrary to what they want you to believe is bad. And people fall for this left and right. They still do. Not as much as they used to. But what he's showing is this thing about Ray Epps, who was everybody says this guy is a federal agent who was helping to instigate or incite violence at January 6th. He says, weird how this is the only January 6th protester the New York Times has sympathy for. I wonder why. New York Times telling you that this is a conspiracy theory, Ray Epps inciting violence. Tucker Carlson repeatedly endorsed a conspiracy theory about an Arizona man, just some guy, about an Arizona man inciting the January 6, 2021 assault on the Capitol. So everybody else who was there is a crazy QAnon white supremacist. Everyone else who was there and involved, except for this guy. This guy, well, I mean, how do you even put this out there? How do you even say stuff like this without it seeming like, what? I don't understand. But this guy, the conspiracy theory that this guy, this guy was part of the thing, part of the melee, is a conspiracy theory. Like, okay, so this guy is okay. This guy's all right. If he's inciting violence, that's fine with us. It doesn't make any sense. But check this out. Now lawyers representing Ray Epps and his wife are proceeding with plans to sue Fox News for Jesus. Wow. That's amazing. Maybe some other people who were involved can sue CNN for defamation. I mean, maybe they should. That's amazing. And it's amazing that these things are being like Dominion suing Fox News. Everybody knows Dominion voting machines are hackable and are suspect. I mean, how is this even allowed to go through? It's amazing. We'll watch this. I'm not going to play anymore, but I'm going to just tell you why wasn't this man arrested? If January 6th was an insurrection, was the worst thing that ever happened to our democracy, and was a horrible, horrible thing, and oh my God, and it was just what? Why isn't this guy arrested? How come nobody arrested him? How come he wasn't part of the thing? Oh, well, that kind of blows your story, doesn't it? That kind of blows your story. Let's see. Hold on 1 second here. And this is a wild story as well. The DOJ indicts a whistleblower. So a whistleblower in the Biden, as part of the Biden family scandal, the DOJ indicts the whistleblower, but not Hunter Biden. And people find this very telling as well. No, thank you. Why do they indict him for FARA FARA violations. A whistleblower in the Biden family scandals for failing to comply with the Foreign Agents Registration Act. He was a foreign agent, but has never indicted Hunter Biden for the same. And a lot of people have claimed that he was, there are multiple reasons why Hunter Biden should be indicted under the same law. The man's name is Gal Luft. Luft, as Breitbart News reported, is on the run abroad from charges of arms trafficking, which he denies. He says he met with the FBI about corruption involving Joe Biden and his son Hunter, but it never followed up, the FBI. Breitbart News noted that Luft is currently sought by Republicans on the House Oversight Committee as a potential witness. As a fugitive, Luft alleges his testimony to the committee would show the Biden family received money from the CEFC, China Energy Company, an entity linked to the CCP. He also claims that the Bidens had a mole inside the FBI who shared information to the benefit of the family business. Luft, who claims he is a fall guy, said he gave the incriminating evidence of Biden family wrongdoing to the FBI and DOJ in Brussels at a March 2019 secret meeting, but U.S. authorities covered up the meeting, he alleged. I mean, people basically claiming that the Biden administration is using the DOJ to go after its detractors. Meanwhile, did you see this? BRICS countries planning a new gold-backed currency to undermine the U.S. dollar? As tensions with Russia and China escalate, the so-called BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are preparing to strike a blow against U.S. dollar hegemony. Last week, the Russian embassy in Kenya declared the BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold. Although any claims coming from Russian sources invite skepticism, independent analysts expect BRICS to continue to pursue de-dollarization and for the gold to play a role in that process. There's another accompanying article about gold. A more specific framework for gold-backed BRICS currency could be announced during the BRICS summit being held next month in South Africa. Investors shouldn't expect China or other major powers to declare an immediate abandonment of the Federal Reserve note dollar in international trade. For now, there exists no single, universally preferred alternative. And countries are repatriating their gold reserves to hold abroad, the gold reserves that they hold abroad, because they will be confiscated. And this already happened to Venezuela, right? Venezuela had gold stored in a British bank, a lot of gold, and they just said, "Oh, we'll take that, thank you." And Venezuela was like, "But you just stole that from us." Oh well. Yeah, go ahead and come back and take it from us if you think it's yours. And they were like, huh. Anyways, the U.S. seized the reserves of Iran, Venezuela, Afghanistan, and Russia. No one wants to be the next victim. This is from Reuters. News. Countries repatriating gold in the wake of sanctions against Russia. And I'm sure that ties in with a gold-backed currency. No, I don't want to register for nothing, Reuters. Or maybe I'll just find another version of this. Hold on. Let's see. Maybe I can get to this one here. I don't know. Basically the same story. Gold repatriation in full swing as countries fear sanctions. More countries want to store gold reserves within their own borders, fearing a similar fate as Russia, which saw a slate of coordinated sanctions by the West following its invasion of Ukraine last year. According to the annual Invesco Global Sovereign Asset Management Study, the West froze almost half of Russia's $640 billion of gold. That is a lot of gold. And Forex reserves last year, and that triggered a shift in central banks' thinking about what assets to hold and where to store them. Invesco said in its survey that polled 85 sovereign wealth funds and 57 central banks, which collectively manage about $21 trillion in assets. A substantial percentage of central banks are concerned about the precedent set by the U.S. freezing of Russian reserves, and with the majority, 58%, agreeing that the event has made gold more attractive. A substantial share of central banks is now concerned by the precedent that have been set with Russia. Also, the survey showed that 68% of respondents now store their physical gold holdings at home, and 74% plan to do so in 5 years. In 2020, that percentage was 50%. Moral of the story: keep your stuff. If you don't hold it, it's like crypto. If you don't have the keys, it ain't yours. If you don't hold it in your own wallet, it's not yours until you do. So I suggest holding your crypto in your own wallet, not a custodial wallet, or a cold wallet, cold storage. Right, real quick. Going to have to jump off soon, but very quickly, the best ways to support the show, the best, most direct ways, are paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom, Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom, Cash App at Red Llama Music, buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews. And thank you all. Also, Patreon is another way to support the show. All those links are below in the description boxes. You know where to find them. Good Lord, it's getting hot in here. It's getting very toasty. Oh, RFK Jr. kind of saying, well, something I've been saying. Whenever the story of, it's, the story of the Wuhan lab. Where did COVID really come from? And there's been actual reports laid out by the DNI, by our own intelligence agencies, saying, we think it came from Wuhan. It looks like it came from Wuhan, but I don't know. It's a weird thing to do that, to say that, because there's, as RFK Jr. will point out, there's clear connections between the Wuhan lab and our own health agencies, right? Am I right? So it seems weird to point that out, because it seems like one step away from pointing out that, well, we were also part of that whole thing too. But maybe they think they're going to do that without implicating themselves. I don't understand. I really don't understand that one. But we'll watch this, and then one more story. Oh, where did it go? Here we go. The U.S. won't investigate the Wuhan lab because the U.S. funded the Wuhan lab. The U.S. government, not just the NIH, but through the CIA and through USAID, was actually funding the studies in Wuhan. I mean, everybody knows this. This is not new news. And NIH, I think, in the end, gave about $26 million in funding to the Wuhan lab, but USAID, which was functioning as a CIA surrogate, gave over $64 million. So here we go.
Why hasn't the Biden administration punished China?
Punish China for what?
For the lab leak, for withholding PPE during the pandemic?
I think one of the reasons we haven't investigated the Wuhan lab is because the U.S. government, not just through NIH, but through the CIA and through USAID, was actually funding the studies in the Wuhan lab. And we did a very, very big technology transfer of bioweapons technology to the Wuhan lab, and bioweapons technology that was developed at NIH expense. I think the CIA was involved in, certainly in this research. They were funding it through USAID. And NIH, I think, in the end, gave about $26 million in funding to the Wuhan lab. But USAID, which was functioning as a CIA surrogate, gave over $64 million, and the Pentagon also gave a lot of money.
Well, yeah. Also, the fact that they, Moderna and all these companies were already developing a COVID-19 vaccine, had already purchased, were already well down the road, our full knowledge of what was going on. It seems a little bit weird that they would know that if this was some kind of oopsie accident. It don't make no sense. Right? Right. Bank of America is in hot water. I'm going to have to go after the story, guys, because I got somewhere to be, so I think I'm going to talk about this for a second. I'm going to take off, but Bank of America is accused of opening fake accounts and charging illegal junk fees. Federal regulators slammed the bank for double dipping on fees. This is from today. Withholding rewards and opening fraudulent accounts. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau orders $100 million in customer payouts and $90 million in penalties, while the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency imposes $60 million in fines. Wow. Shades of the Wells Fargo scandal resurface. Right, if you remember, Wells Fargo did stuff like this. I don't know, was it like 15 years ago or so? And Bank of America is one of the, very important banks, right? The too big to fail banks. Well, I guess we'll just find them a little bit here. Somebody asked, why would they open accounts, fraudulent accounts? I don't know. I wonder how much money they made from these fraudulent accounts. If it's more than they were fined, then I guess that was a win, right? The fines are just operating costs for the just uber wealthy corporations of the world, right? For anybody, for Pfizer, for Moderna, for the fossil fuel companies. The fines are just operating costs. If your profits are several billion dollars a year or $100 billion a year and your fines are 300 million, I mean, that is a tiny, tiny percentage of your profits. Anyways. But I've heard a lot of strange... I've been hearing a lot of strange things about Bank of America over the last couple of years, so... Fake accounts to pad growth, says Poppy. Yeah, sure. Yeah, to make it seem like you're to boost the bottom line, which boosts your stock shares, which boosts your profits, which, all that is all that's part of the picture, I'm sure. But all these folks are super corrupt, right? Yeah. Just checking in on the Rockfins, checking in on the other platforms. Probably not going to have any time for calls today because I am going to sign off. But I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time, though, guys. Okay. Just checking in. See if I got any last minute tips. I did not. All right. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow. Sorry for the sudden volume change there. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Until next time, peace.